Hello and welcome back to freeCodeCamp's Basic Javascript section. We're in Introducing Else Statements. It says when a condition for an if statement is true, the block of code following it is executed. What about when that condition is false? Normally nothing would happen. With an else statement, an alternate block of code can be executed. For example, if num is greater than 10, it will return bigger than 10. Else, so if this is false and it will never run, it will return 10 or less. Combine the if statement into a single if-else statement. So here they have two if statements. Instead, they want us to just do an else result equals 5 or smaller. We could erase this, and now when this runs, it will first check if val is greater than 5. If it is, it will run this code. But if it is not, then it will run this code. And we can test this by, here's our function. We can do console.log, and we see it is 5 or smaller. And if we do 6, bigger than 5. So that's else statement. Go to the next one. Introducing else if statements. If you have multiple conditions that need to be addressed, you can chain if statements together with else if statements. So if num is greater than 15, it will return bigger than 15. Else if num is less than 5, return smaller than 5. Else, return between 5 and 15. Convert the logic to use else if statements. So here we have this test else if function that takes in a value. Let's say that value is 5. If val greater than 10, return greater than 10. So if 5 is greater than 10, it would be false. It would never run that. We would want to say else if val less than 5, we want to return smaller than 5. We can erase this one, and then at the end do else return between 5 and 10. We could erase this, and now this should work right. If we go down here and do console log, we do see between 5 and 10. If we do 11, be greater than 10. If we do 2, smaller than 5. So that's it for this one. Let's see if we pass. We did pass. So that was else if statements. Logical order in if else statements. Order is important in if else if statements. The function is executed from top to bottom, so you will want to be careful of what statement comes first. Take these two functions as an example. Here's the first. Function foo x. So we pass in a value to x. If x is less than 1, return less than 1. Else if x is less than 2, return less than 2. Else, return greater than or equal to 2. And the second just switches the order of the statement. We have this function bar x. If x is less than 2, we're going to return less than 2. Else if x is less than 1, return less than 1. Else return greater than or equal to 2. While these two functions look nearly identical, if we pass a number to both, we get different outputs. Foo 0 less than 1. Bar 0 less than 2. Change the order of logic in the function so that it will return the correct statement in all cases. We got to make sure that we put these in the right order. So we can fix this one by saying if val less than 5, return less than 5. Else if val less than 10, return less than 10. Else return greater than or equal to 10. Let's see if I did that right. Console.log less than 10. If we do 11 greater than or equal to 10. If I do 1 less than 5. Seems to be working. Let's run test. We did pass that. And if you guys aren't getting it, the way that they had it, it wouldn't run correctly all the time. Since if we were checking for 10 first and we use a number 4, we would want to do less than 5, but because less than 10 is first, that would also be true. and it would automatically run that first, and therefore wouldn't be the correct one. Yeah, just do this one over a couple times if you're not getting it, and it will make sense more and more. Or also look online. Let's go to the next one. Chaining if-else statements. If-else statements can be chained together for complex logic. Here's pseudocode of multiple chained if-else-if statements. If condition 1 is true, run statement 1. Else if condition 2, run statement 2. Else if condition 3, run statement 3. Else this default statement. Write chained if-else-if statements to fulfill the following conditions. We have this function test size, which takes in a num. It will return something here. So we're only going to write stuff in here. So we're going to do an if num less than 5. We're going to return tiny. Else if num less than 10, return small. Else if num less than 15, return medium. Else if num less than 20, return large. Else return huge. Should return, not sure if I'm doing it right, but let's erase that. We could test this. Console log, we try 13, should be medium, which it is, 18, large, huge. Seems to be working correctly. Let's run test, and we did pass. Basically end this one here, but we went over else statements and else if statements, which we could combine with our if statements to run code depending on the condition. We learned about chaining them and the importance of putting them in the correct order to run the correct condition. Make sure to practice that, and I'll see you in the next video.